I am known as TheTimeRipper in the Metro Detroit area. I started live coding as kind of a strange encounter the way it happened, but let me go back for a second. I studied music production by listening to Skrillex. I like Skrillex a lot, and a friend at work told me about his music, and they're like, you should listen to this guy, he's got really crazy textures, and I'm like, what does Skrillex use? I Googled it, and I found out he uses Ableton Live. So I decided to go buy a book and buy the software. I couldn't make a peep without anything, like any help. I just couldn't do it. The book wasn't helpful. So I went online to do some research, and I found a school that teaches music production called Dubspot. And Dubspot is based in New York City. They had locations in Los Angeles as well as online. So I attended their online school. And that's where I learned all of the music production techniques that I have worked with over the years. So Ableton's kind of where I started out in the digital audio space. I always had synthesizers growing up when I was younger. I just didn't know they were synthesizers. I thought that they were piano, keyboards, you know. I was 4 years old. My mom would bring me new toys and I just didn't know what they were. So I guess I've always had a synthesizer growing up, but music's just always been a really big part of my life. So when I went to Dubspot, I actually finished there, and I'm like, okay, you know, I want to connect with people in the Metro Detroit area. So I thought to myself, what can I do to, you know, get myself out there? And so I found the Ableton Detroit user group. And actually, that's how I met Joo, Dr. Park. So I actually made friends with the people there, and since then, I learned how to, you know, the Leap Motion Sensor. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what that is. So it's like an augmented reality experience where you plug in the USB, and it's this little device, and you can basically use hand gestures. So pitch and yaw and doing these different things like up and down. You can actually modulate Ableton Live with that. So it was pretty interesting because that was my first encounter with coding a controller, if you will, with the laptop to do something with it. So we connected that to visuals and to audio, and I did that with my friend Rory PQ, who's the user group leader. And so that's how I actually found out Rory was a student at Dubspot. So we studied at the same place, and it was really cool to know that, you know, I'm not alone doing these things, because I feel like in Detroit, although it's the home of techno and the birthplace of techno, there's just a lot of groups out there and a lot of niches, and so not really, I wasn't really talking to anybody besides the user group. So I went online to look around after having fun with that, and I found out that I had, options. So I went to learn about Ableton from the software maker, and found out that they were hosting the Ableton Live Loop Summit in 2015, the first ever. So I entered the lottery to get picked to go and get, you know, go. And so I got to go, and it was beautiful. I met a lot of really cool people. And while I was there, I attended a panel talk, and the talk was called "Artistry from the Artist to the Engineer and Back Again." And so it was about live coding, and people were doing a talk about Tidal cycles and algo rave, which is the shirt that I'm wearing, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But so while I was there, I met Alexander Cardenas, and I worked together. Yeah, this is still not working. I don't know why. I'm just going to keep trying. So anyway, this was working earlier. I'm really sorry about that. This is not good. But anyway, so you can hear my little story here for a second. So while I was there, I was attending this talk, and it was at the Ableton Loop Summit. And so the talk was about coding to make music. And so this designer, he created a bunch of shapes. And when he was doing the talk, he had a bunch of shapes on the screen that he moused over them, and they played different sounds. And so somebody asked him, "How did you make this?" And he said, "Oh, I just used a framework." And I have a web development background, so I thought to myself, using a framework why did you use this framework, or what framework did you use? What were you thinking when you decided to leverage a framework, right? So I discovered that I had something to say. And so I stood up in front of a room full of people, like I am kind of right now, but way more people. And there was, all eyes on me. I was really like, okay, well, I guess I have something to say here. So I asked the question. I said, what framework did you use? Why did you use it? And they just said, oh, it's just faster. And I said, do you know that a framework, why it's built, is because it's like you don't want to reinvent the wheel, doing the same thing over and over again, different things that are repeatable and reusable. And just like synthesis, right? Every time you go to play, you're not going to sit there and reinvent exactly what your controller does. You just want to use your controller the way it's set up. Sometimes anyway. I know it depends on preferences, but it was really cool to be able to get to meet these people. And so while I was there, I met Alexandra Cardenas in the bathroom, and she's one of the live coders from the panel. So they were talking about pure data, max MSP. They were talking about Tidal cycles, which is a script that runs on top of Super Collider, which I'm having the issues with Super Collider at the moment. So I saw Alexandra in the bathroom, and I said to her, I'm sorry I interrupted your talk. I just really had something to say. And she said, oh, it's okay. I heard where you were coming from, and I was kind of wondering the same thing. And so it sparked up a conversation, and I said to her, wouldn't it be something amazing if we could bring AlgoRave, the concept, to Detroit and live coding? Because I've never heard of this before. I've never seen anybody live coding. This was the first encounter I had with them. So she and I kept in touch, and after I returned from that trip, I started a new job as a contractor at a company called Vector Forum in Royal Oak. And Vector Forum is a technology company, and they do innovation there. And while we were there, I learned that one of my coworkers actually was one of the main software contributors to Super Collider. So his name is Josh Parmenter. And Joshua, or Josh, whatever you want to call him, he plays the cello and he modulates it with Super Collider. And so he builds his own user interfaces and all that jazz. And it's pretty cool to know that you can do such a thing, because I didn't know that at the time. I just thought, oh, it's just sound. So I learned very quickly that I don't know what the heck's going on here. So I'm sorry, you guys, this is not good, but I had something to show you about this, but I'm still working on it. So anyway, long story short, with regards to AlgoRave, what AlgoRave is a term that was coined by Alex McLean, who's the person who created Tidal Cycles along with Nick Collins. They are, I believe, based out of the UK. And so, let's see, Alex wasn't there, but Alexandra was there, and she actually connects with them, and they work together on these things. So I'm just going to reboot one more time, and if this doesn't work, then I'm just going to show you my video and my intentions. I'm really sorry.
Maybe it's the sound card?
I don't know what happened. Yeah, I don't know.
You can just go right here, and then share with us.
Yeah, I mean, I know this works, so I don't know. I'm really sorry, guys.
It's okay.
It blew up on me. It's because I tried to record my screen and do Apple TV.
Yeah. Technology is good if it works, right? So we make it work.
Okay. So anyway, you can stay if you'd like. That would be helpful. So Alexandra and I spoke after we got back. I found out that Josh is actually friends with Alexandra, and we're all from the same circle, and we're connected through this software, and I didn't know that. So Josh said, yeah, it'd be really cool to host an AlgoRave. I should talk to Vector Forum about it. Maybe they'll sponsor it, and stuff like that. So they did. They flew Alexandra Cardenas out to Detroit, and I did visuals for them. Now at the time I was very new to live coding, so I didn't really know what it was. I just loved what I saw, and I'm like, I need more of this. I want to learn, and I want to have this here in Detroit. I want to have a scene here. So I found out that the Ableton Live has a plugin for, what's it called? Rockvid, it's called. I don't know if anybody familiar with Rockvid? No? So if you're into visuals, okay, here's what it is. This stupid software is stuck. There. Internal headphones. Headphones work, right? You can hear me on the
sure.
speaker.
Let's beep it. Yep.
Okay, great. All right, now let me just kill this. So thanks for bearing with me, by the way, because I hope this is worth the wait.
Can we at least
I'm
try
just
the
gonna put
Apple
this
TV one more time with the audio out?
You got it.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is actually a form of live coding, but with hardware. So this live coding that I'm talking about is actually software-based. So it's basically music that is modulated by algorithms or created from algorithms, generative music, sample-based, but put through the algorithms. So like you have different options for what you could call live coding, live code. But so it's an art form that could be done in many different ways. But particularly when you talk about algo rave, that's an algorithmic dance culture scene that's very specific, and they have a guideline that tells you what qualifies as an algo rave. And thank you very much. So with that said, I actually worked together with Alex and Alexandra to understand how this should go, how the event should go. And so we did the best we could. We also got Shelly Knotts to come out. Has anybody heard of Shelly Knotts? All right. So yeah, Shelly Knotts is a digital performer as well. She does live coding with Tidal cycles, and they also do visuals. And I know that David Minix right here, he knows how to do all that too. I actually don't know how to live code the visuals particularly like that, but I use Rockford. So that's what I did for them. They let me do that. Usually they're, so it's an open source community. They're very particular about using open source tools to do the live coding. I forgot to mention that. So with that said, I did eventually learn how to live code sound, and that's what I'm trying to show you tonight. And I'm a sample-based musician mostly, so I took an idea today and I decided to do the sounds of Snapchat. And actually, this might be a little loud, so let's see what happens. I hope this works. Please work. Yes, it worked. Thank you. All right. All right, and you can see my screen. Okay, all right, so this is live coding, but I'm not ready to start yet. All right, now I can do the show. Thank you. My goodness, that was awful. Okay, so with that said, I learned how to live code sound, and I really, I didn't know like how to get started with it, so I just looked up the documentation. So first of all, Super Collider is the software that really runs the thing, and let's see, Tidal Cycles is a script written in Haskell that sits on top of Super Collider, and it does all of the musical aspects of it. So Alex said to himself, I'm a musician, I want to write software that loops. And so that's what Tidal Cycles essentially does. Like all the things that you would see in a user interface in a DAW, this software you can do, but there's no DAW. There's no like user interface rather. It's just code. And so if you wanted to, you could write your own user interface, you could write your own visuals, you could write your own musical code, you could do whatever you want. Well, that said too, it's kind of could be dangerous to your computer, as you can see. So you have to be careful what you decide to do. So anyway, after I learned the live coding sound, I also learned how to do visuals with VDMX, which is another software that is free to try, but does cost money to buy. That was something that was developed by a staff member at the DubSpot school that I went to. And that's what I use for visuals as well. That's another form of live coding too, but it's with VJ software. So what we saw earlier in the talk upstairs, how they were, he was generating visuals from the sound. That was very cool, and that's in essence what VDMX does, but it's software based. So like, I feel like there's a real connection between the physical world and the software world. It's like everything started maybe in the physical world and ended up in the software world. I don't know which one really came first, but there's also a really great documentary that everyone should check out if you're interested. It's called I Dream of Wires. It gives you the history of like where modular synthesis came from and really even just how this all originated from computer science. So with that said, I would like to play this video. Let me just test the sound real quick. Okay, it's there. All right, well, I guess I'm gonna have to use my handy dandy computer audio. Sorry for the delay. Without further ado, this is the sounds of Snapchat by me, TheTimeRipper. So my idea is Wayne State, right? That's where we're at today. So I looked up on the Snapchat map, Wayne State, and I saw people posting public snaps, and I said, okay, well, what kind of sounds like, this could be looped? That's my idea. So I am going to play for you the original. It's a 3-minute clip. It's original sounds of Snapchat. It's the originals, and then I'm going to play these sounds in my live set. These are my samples.
TimeRipper, the TimeRipper beats.
And I had intended not even to talk. This was what I was going to do the whole time. But thanks for listening.
Announcement for all the students at Wayne State University. If this is your notebook you left in the library and your cup, come get this
Yeah, it's really random.
Yeah, looking good in the hood.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're refilming the movie The Flintstones. I've been asked to play a role. What do you guys think? Huh?
I don't really know why people call me a milquetoast. Stop being one. Jeez. Why they gotta be so serious?
What you doing with a doctor? You a CNA.
These are construction workers.
We out here, we out Kim, representing Wayne State.
We at Marcus Lincoln.
He wants some cake. He just got here, he's already, I don't know. But yeah.
I don't know. He's mumbling.
Relative to how I was answering others.
Maybe a little higher volume too.
Are you recording me? That's so rude.
Yeah.
You look cute. I don't look cute. There's nothing about this that's cute. Except for the giant nose. That's where you put your attitude. What is that? Yeah, I'm just imagining snot coming out of those nostrils. That's rude.
Well, actually, I can't speak it today, but I'm so happy. Thank you for everything.
The acid has protated our organic base into an ionic compound that again will dissolve in the waters.
All right, so those were the original video clips. And brace yourself for my live set, because I don't know what's going to come of it. So here we go. Yeah, random. All right, you guys ready for some sounds? Thank you for your patience. Gotta love those technical difficulties. Okay.
I don't get it.
What you doing over there? 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 What you doing over there?
I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Nothing about this that's cute. 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 I don't get it. Nothing about this that's cute. I don't get it. Nothing about this that's cute. I don't get it. Nothing about this that's cute. I don't get it. Nothing about this that's cute. I don't get it. Nothing about this that's cute. I don't get it. Nothing about this that's cute. I don't get it. Nothing about this that's cute. I don't get it. Nothing about this that's cute. I don't get it. Nothing about this that's cute. I don't get it. Nothing about this that's cute. I don't get it. Nothing about this that's cute. I don't get it. Nothing about this that's cute. I don't get it. Nothing about this that's cute. I don't get it. Nothing about this that's cute. 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 Nothing about this that's cute.
Don't really, don't lie, don't lie, don't lie.
Nothing about this
Don't
that's
lie,
cute.
don't lie, don't lie, don't lie, don't lie, don't lie. Jeez, 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 jeez.
We out here?
Nothing about this looks cute. Nothing about this looks cute. Nothing about this looks cute.
Compound that again. Compound that again.
Thank you.
Like, that look cute. Nothing about this looks 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 cute.
Notebook you left in the library again. Notebook you left in the library again. Notebook you left in the library again. Notebook you left in the library in your cup.
Nothing about this looks cute.
doing over there? What you 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 doing over there?
Nothing about this that's clear. Nothing about this that's clear. Nothing about this that's clear.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And I noticed because of the technical issue I was having, I wasn't able to access some of the samples. So I've learned a lot tonight. This is my first time performing on stage in front of an audience. So I hope you enjoyed that. I know some of it was a little bit repetitive, but as you can see, live coding can be very enjoyable, and you can take anything, any kind of sound that you can think of from anywhere, any source, and you can put it into, this is Tidal cycles, by the way. Let me just give you a quick syntax here. So it's basically, the order of operations is so there's a script you can download through Homebrew. Homebrew is a software tool that runs like installation for you. So there's like a bundle for Tidal cycles and Super Collider and all that. I would recommend that you just run Homebrew. It'll install all the software dependencies for you because you have to have Haskell installed on your operating system for it to work and all this stuff. So, but Super Collider, you start the server, then you run Super Dirt, which is the built-in synthesizer that comes with Tidal cycles. And then once you have that running, and you go into an editor called Atom, which I think is an open source editor, I'm pretty sure. And it's also web-based, which is why you can do all the cool stuff you can do with visuals in here. But you didn't get to see any of that today. This was not live coding visuals, this was live coding sound only. You guys should check out David Minnick's profile sometime. He's got some mad live code visuals going on there. So then basically this is Tidal cycles right here. And what you do is you chop up your samples and you put them in a directory that is provided for you. It's called Dirt Samples. And so if you look here, these are all the ones that come with the synthesizer, but like these folders that I have marked purple. Yes?
Font's small. Can we just go around and...
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. We can just,
I'm sorry, I didn't realize that.
Officially end the event, and we can actually get around.
Yeah, I wanted you guys to know real quick before you leave. Please, let's get more people doing this sort of thing. If you like this, please follow up with me, myself, or David. We would love to have more live coders as well. We have another gentleman in the room that knows live coding as well. I want to call you Derek, that's it. Derek. That gentleman Derek was telling me earlier that he attended one of David's live talks and about live coding, and so there's more to come about this hopefully in the Detroit scene. So thanks for bearing with me through all my technical issues, but basically you stick the samples in the folder and you run Super Collider, and that's how it works. So, so yeah, thank you for everything. I really had a good time. Thank you.
That's it.
All right, yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.